All right, today we're diving into a tool that makes a pretty huge claim to be the AI-powered brain for your entire team. It's called Slab. So we're going to break down what that actually means, how it works, and most importantly, whether it's the right choice for your business. Let's get right into it.
First, let's talk about a problem that, let's be honest, we all know way too well. How many times a day does someone on your team have to pop into a chat and ask, "Hey, where's that doc?" Or, "Which folder was that design in again?" Your team's most valuable knowledge? It's probably scattered everywhere, across Google Drive, Slack channels, Notion pages, you name it. That, my friends, is information chaos.
And look, this isn't just some minor annoyance. All that time spent digging around and switching between apps, it adds up. It creates these expensive little delays, it leads to people redoing work that's already been done, and it absolutely murders your team's focus and momentum. It's a quiet but very real drain on your bottom line.
So let's start by calling this what it is. We're talking about the very real and very high cost of all this chaos.
But, just pointing out a problem isn't enough. So what's the actual solution here? Well, we're going to investigate a tool that was literally built from the ground up to solve this exact problem.
And that brings us to the core promise of Slab to act as an AI-powered brain for your entire team. A single place for all your knowledge that doesn't just store information, but actually understands what you're looking for. So how does it do that? Well, most search tools you use every day rely on a simple keyword search. You type in user login and it hunts for documents with those exact 2 words. Slab, on the other hand, uses AI-powered semantic search. This is a game changer because it understands the meaning behind your words. So you can ask a real question like, how do our customers sign in? And it's smart enough to know you're talking about user login. It's kind of like asking a librarian for help instead of just shouting a book title into an empty room.
The tech that makes this possible is called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. And honestly, it's crucial for any business using AI. Here's why. Instead of making stuff up or hallucinating answers from the wider internet, RAG does 2 things. First, it retrieves information from your company's own trusted documents, and then it generates an answer based only on that info. This keeps everything grounded in your reality. The key thing to remember is this: it's not guessing, it's finding.
Of course, if you're going to centralize all of your team's collective knowledge in one place, you have to ask the single most important question there is it actually safe?
And the answer here is a big, resounding yes. Slab doesn't just talk about security. They prove it with a whole suite of enterprise-grade certifications. We're talking SOC 2 Type 2, which means their security controls are constantly being audited. They're GDPR compliant, they follow ISO 27001 standards, and they support all the heavy-duty features like single sign-on and automated user provisioning. This is the checklist that lets your IT team sleep soundly at night.
And just to put that into perspective, here's some expert advice. When you're looking at any tool that's going to handle your company's data, your first question should always be for a current SOC 2 Type 2 report. It's the gold standard. The fact that Slab has this ready to go is a massive green flag that really separates the serious enterprise-ready tools from the rest of the pack.
Okay, so we know it's smart and we know it's secure, but how does Slab really stack up against the giants in this space? You know who I'm talking about, Notion and Confluence. Let's take a look at the competitive landscape.
Each of these tools really has a different philosophy. Slab is what I'd call the specialist. It does one thing, being a knowledge hub, and it does it exceptionally well. Then you have Notion, which is the all-in-one. It's like a box of Legos. You can build almost anything with it. And finally, there's Confluence, which is the legacy choice, especially if you're already deep in the Atlassian ecosystem. So if your biggest headache is just finding information fast, Slab is laser-focused on that. If you want to build custom workflows for everything, Notion might be more your speed. But what about actual, tangible results? Well, for teams that make the switch from a tool like Confluence, Slab reports a 30% reduction in redundant internal questions. 30%. Just take a second and think about what that would feel like. Nearly a third of those, "Hey, where do I find questions?" just gone.
And here's what that 30% looks like on a human level. This quote from a product leader says it all. It's about building a culture of search first. When you make it incredibly easy for people to find answers themselves, you empower them to be more self-sufficient. You free up your senior people from having to answer the same basic questions over and over and over again.
So, with all of that in mind, let's get down to brass tacks. The final verdict. Is Slab the right tool for your team? Let's break it down by a few common rules. For a fast-growing startup that's trying to get its documentation in order before things get too messy, it's an excellent fit.
For a mid-market product manager who needs one single source of truth for product specs, user research, and roadmaps, it's a perfect fit. I mean, this is basically Slab's sweet spot. And for the enterprise IT admin who needs that ironclad security and compliance we talked about, it's a really strong fit, often way simpler to manage than some of the more complex alternatives out there.
So let's just boil it all down to this. You should seriously consider Slab if these 3 things are true. Number 1, your single biggest problem is that information is scattered everywhere and hard to find. Number 2, you value a clean, super fast, and simple user experience over a tool that has a million confusing features. And number 3, top-tier security and compliance are absolutely non-negotiable for you.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Imagine all the time and all the mental energy your team currently spends just hunting for things. Now, what could you all achieve? What could you build if all of that energy was put back into doing your actual best work? What could you really accomplish if nobody ever had to ask, where's that document, again?